man, chat. Oh man, do we have to? Yes, we have to, because apparently players caught AAA game using AI. Now Steam picked a side. Oh man. Oh man. Let me guess. I assume it's Call of Duty using AI in their thing and everything. So I'm not surprised. Yep, Rent a Girlfriend. That's
okay,
still
everyone,
alive.
today's story is actually pretty damn big. So here's what's going on, right? Players are getting refunds for Call of Duty this year, and it's not because of the absurd campaign or some sort of matchmaking disaster. No, they are demanding their money back because they're finding the game is filled with AI-generated art that was never mentioned in the marketing. And what matters there is they're actually getting the refunds.
Damn, are you serious?
Because Ubisoft is also under fire. And that's because while we're talking about AI slop, right, the real problem isn't necessarily the output. It isn't necessarily the intents that people
That's
say.
the shittiest thing about it. Like, I knew the moment when this whole AI thing was gonna come out or so, I knew for a fact that Activision was not gonna use it for an actual like you're supposed to use the AI machine, right? Like the machine itself as a basis or so for starting out and everything like that, like your base format, right? But then from there you're supposed to make it, your own thing at the end of the day, You're not supposed to let it take over your entire workflow.
Really, we should start looking at what people actually do, and we should look at the process, because in reality, it's the management of these companies that are getting just as sloppy as the games. Alright, so this year's Call of Duty is once again full of generative AI slop. Because whenever I think Call of Duty, I think of piss, filter, poisoned, Ghibli-adjacent fantasy art of some...
This campaign's fucking sucked ass. They do love cutting corners because, at the end of the day, well, number one, it's expensive over there in Los Angeles, so they gotta pay all these developers insane money or so.
Impressing a guard by catching a catfish. Yep, that's Call of Duty, all right. And the images you're seeing right now are basically those
There's the
of
AI
calling
images.
cards. They're floating around.
Wait, these are AI too? Wait, hold up a second. Let me see. Oh, I see it. I see it. I see where it's at. Yep. Oh, wait. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? Oh yeah, I see it. Yep, I see it in that one. Yeah, I see it in that one. That one looks a little bit odd too as well. The gumball one. What the fuck? He's not even holding the bottle or so. Yeah, he's not even holding the bottle on this one. The calorific one. He's not even holding the bottle correctly.
Media in the wake of the Black Ops 7 launch, because people have looked at them and thought, oh my god, what the hell is this? It's weird, tonally...
Bro, that game was butt cheeks, bro. I didn't even know what was happening half the entire time, bro. The Zaza was so hard or so, it made me start playing Pokemon after the stream.
Mismatched stuff that bears all the hallmarks of cheaply produced and...
Wait, so you're saying, okay, let me see. Hold on. So all of these are AI? Let me see. Hold up a second. Let me see. There's something wrong with that thumb right there. That finger makes no sense. Yeah, that finger makes no sense because that's not the long finger. No. Let me see. That's interesting. That makes no sense there. I'm looking at it super closely to see the weirdness of it. What the fuck is that in the back? That looks like a little Teletubby in the back over there behind the zombies. Interesting.
Generated art. And look, this isn't some...
Oh my god, that is so generated right there. The kill switch one. Let me see. Glide or die. What the hell? Oh, that one's so totally... Yeah, that one's so totally... Field promotion. Oh, yep. There, her hand is completely gone in this one. Like it looks like it's getting merged or so. That's interesting. Is that a bunch of rats or something? Looks like a bunch of rats.
See AI get really angry thing. No, sure, there's people who could probably do this stuff tastefully. What actually matters is this is a huge set of games where it's not being done tastefully, and that's actually happening at scale. Now, the funny thing about this with Call of Duty is that after the mess of Black Ops 6, audiences kind of expected this stuff.
Yeah, of course.
We all expected the generic Steam AI disclosure thing. We all expected Activision responding to the news outlets, confirming something that they didn't do anything wrong and denying anything that they could have done wrong. And the reason why is actually because we've already had all of this happen this very year. It all went down back in August, where Associate Creative Director Miles Leslie told IGN that everything Gen AI that people saw in Black Ops 6 was there, quote, by accident, and that was never the intention.
Wait, are you
and the
serious?
claim that he makes is that these are basically just tools to help artists, but that the outputs are never to make it in-game. So that would mean that, say, our many-fingered zombie Santa friend was only meant to be a placeholder. Never should have shipped. You know, just a placeholder asset meant to sit there and reflect the vibe that the artists wanted, until eventually a human could come in and replace it. Now, look, I'm happy enough to steelman this guy's position. And
take your pillow, be safe.
Having better tools and less drudgery in their job. But this keeps on happening, and I think that means we should be quite a bit more suspicious. So when I said it keeps happening, obviously that's right for Call of Duty, but it's also an industry-wide thing. First, there's a game that I should love, and that's Anno 1117 Pax Romana. It should be a bright spot in Ubisoft's calendar, but there are problems with the game, sadly. There's an unfinished campaign, some odd art decisions, and for today's purposes, an AI art problem. You see, Anno's art tends to
no worries. Take care, hun. Take care.
Right? And that's why seeing it replaced with a thoughtless imitation with no experiential humanity.
No! Are you telling me that Ubisoft is also using AI in their stuff? Well, I'm not surprised at the end of the day, because Ubisoft is literally down in the shitter, so they probably need it anyways. Compared to Activision, they don't really need it.
Behind it is a big nope for me. That's the type of art where, even if it was to look pretty, it just wouldn't evoke a feeling in me. So here's actually what went down with this. Something in these loading screens caught people's eye. Basically, something was up. They were off-putting. We saw these renderings of somewhat human-shaped shadow figures. And no, this is not a Ghost Adventures episode, just random-ass shadow figures. Now that led to people then checking for the Steam AI disclosure. The disclosure was there, and of course it's a first for the Anno series. Now, I want you to remember that this is all happening at the same time that Ubisoft are catching some flack for allegedly machine translating the German language options for the game. So yeah, the Germans aren't pleased, and I suspect that also extends to the official Germans, by which I mean the government. I say that because the German government awarded Ubisoft a 5.7 million euro cultural development grant in 2023. So they probably won't like the look of this weird slop job with the damn German translation. Now, admittedly, that grant's likely because the game's development team is a large German employer, and that would mean that the government would want to back them. But hey, if you're a French publisher making a historical strategy game, do I really have to say it? Don't piss off the Germans. Come on, it keeps on going badly when we do that. Jokes aside, it is a bad look on both counts. And that is why Ubisoft did actually respond to things. So according to them, the offending scenes were just generative AI placeholders that slipped through review. Now, they just slipped in, but thankfully...
Right. It just slipped through, chat. You know, we just put it there, you know? But it wasn't supposed to be intended to be in the game. It was supposed to be someone else who's supposed to draw it. But, you know, it just kind of slipped through, you know?
That now they are being fixed. But when you actually look at the fixes, you see they're not done in a way that would inspire hope, because they're just touching up the offending mistakes with what's there, rather than replacing it fully, which I think suggests that whenever push comes to shove, yeah, they actually are happy to just do the quick, dirty thing.
Oh, wait, let me see. Hold up. So they covered the dude that was in the back. They put a figure here. Let me see. Looks like they fixed the guy's face back here. And then they fixed her hand, at least from what I'm seeing anyways. That's interesting. That's crazy. You know, you're supposed to use it as like the foundation of your art, you know, to get, you know, maybe to get some inspiration. Maybe you need a pose. I mean, for me, I use posing and clothing design for me specifically, because I'm not going to waste my time looking through thousands and thousands of pages of magazines or so. For me personally, just to try to find the one that I'm trying to look for. So I just kind of like, you know, I just kind of personally just generate clothing design and posing. But usually the coloring, and then if I need to change anything, you know, when it comes to like, you know, anything else specifically, like I manually do it myself. So that's kind of like how I use it though. That's basically it. That's how I use it. Like the only thing that I suck at, well, yeah, I would say I suck at is like I'm not really super great at making backgrounds. That's maybe something that I would use, or I'm not really super great at doing certain fantasy. Futuristic is definitely something that I'm not really good at. There's some certain genres or so for me when it comes to drawing, I stay away from them because I know for a fact I'm not good at them. Like there's some fantasy stuff that I do okay, but then there's some other ones like for example, dragons. I'm not really super great at them. I'll be honest with you. I haven't drawn them in a long time though, but I'm not really super good at those. When it comes to futuristic stuff with mechanical stuff, I just can't do any of that stuff in my personal opinion. So thank you for the follow. Welcome. I'll probably use like a 3D model or something like that to do something in general with it, but that's kind of like generally it though.
Cut some corners. Can't imagine any of us find that particularly surprising, but what's maybe more surprising is just how sloppy they're getting, and how far the standards are falling.
Yeah, they're getting
it's
sloppy.
Not necessarily
That's 100%.
the technology itself that is turning people's stomachs. It can also be the use of that technology, and in this case, the sheer sloppiness, the lack of care.
Yep.
Now, we've heard the placeholder excuse multiple times this year. Hell, even Expedition 33. Yes, that game, even it fell afoul of it. Basically, there was an in-game poster that was found, turned out to be a placeholder, and it was replaced a week after launch. I suppose it's the more innocuous of today's three.
Oh, really? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears as though Clear Obscure Expedition 33 uses generative AI for these textures. Excellent. The AI-generated textures of Clear Obscure were indeed placeholders and were replaced with custom assets. The other AI-generated posters that was present in the starting area, don't have a screenshot of it now, was also removed. You know, the funny thing about it specifically, the video game industry is already using AI. It's already using AI. Nobody knows it. The problem is like some companies hide it better than others. Activision doesn't do that very well, to be honest. But others do hide it a lot better compared to others. So that's all I gotta say. Like, they have been using it. How do I know this? It's because I know people who work in the actual video game industry, and they told me about it. They've already been using it. They just don't fucking say it to you guys because you guys are a bunch of, you know, you guys are just gonna start rioting and everything. But yeah, everything is using AI already. Everything has already been using AI. You just guys don't know it.
Main examples. But here's basically what happens. Devs use generative AI tools to create a almost production-ready asset. They then populate the game. They put those assets in, and you know what? Because they've used the quickly made AI placeholder thing, actually, when the placeholders are in, they probably do get a bunch of the vibe that they're looking for. But then what happens is, there's a release date for the game. There is a rush to ship. And that can mean that those assets may never get replaced. So you can see why—
That's the reason why they need to stop releasing Call of Duty every single year. I don't think it's feasible to make it released every single year anymore.
Do it. You can even see some benefits over the traditional style of placeholder, which was meant to be so egregious and obvious that you really just couldn't ship them. You know, just a blank texture saying delete me or something. That would mean that people would notice the placeholder is there, and it wouldn't get shipped.
So AI right there.
Sometimes, yeah, a mistake would happen. Something would slip in. Maybe a wrong build is uploaded, or human error happens. Now that happens even without Gen AI built placeholders. But when the placeholders, if you were to sort of squint your eye and look at them, almost look like the finished product, then it's a lot harder to get that part of the process right. And look, not everyone hates Gen AI on principle. That's a totally fine thing to think, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, if people broadly did, we wouldn't be praising Game of the Year nominee Expedition 33, which did decide to use that stuff as a part of its pipeline.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Not intended to be final results,
Yeah,
but
of
as
course.
part of its pipeline. So here's the thing, right?
That's what I'm thinking. It's like I said this specifically. The AI machine or so, it's supposed to be a tool to help artists. It's not supposed to be the final thing that's supposed to take over your entire workflow. It's not supposed to be that way. That's just not how it is in general.
Plenty of people will tell you that if you hate
Hey,
Gen
Winter.
AI, that's okay. Just don't buy those games.
Yeah.
Right. Easy enough. There's
Yeah.
tons of options out there.
Yeah, of course.
And sure, audiences do have different standards. We actually saw that recently with Arc Raiders, where some people drew their personal line there, others didn't, and that is completely okay. Almost all things are actually a
For me, I just don't like the extraction shooter. That's it. I just don't like it personally.
spectrum of belief. This isn't some binary AI good, AI bad thing. But what I would say is that when the product itself becomes messy, or the company doesn't seem to care, or appears to be disrespectful of player time, well then it is so much easier to shift a player's position on that spectrum. And that's why, even if they do want to use these tools, the industry has got to hold themselves to a higher standard.
Yeah, they have to.
Because whenever the generative AI placeholder art isn't replaced, and is just tidied or updated, it's actually kind of clear that functionally, those ended up not being placeholders. They actually were just a cut corner that the company got away with.
Of course.
And pretending otherwise, I think, is what's actually frustrating people here. Thus far, we've covered a big reason why people are frustrated, but I'd actually wager it goes far,
Just be
far,
honest,
far
yeah.
deeper than that.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. Some people are fine with Gen AI whenever it is intentional or feels thoughtful. Now, you may remember the Screen Actors Guild voice actor strike. Just before that came to an end, Epic Games unveiled a chatbot-powered Darth Vader NPC for Fortnite. Now, Epic used James Earl Jones's voice with his family's blessing, and then they ran it through an LLM trained on scraped internet text, which is why we could have Darth Vader reciting the story of Kingdom Hearts to us.
Very well, Sky.
Wait, I got Darth Vader to tell the story of Kingdom Hearts in Fortnite? Oh, that's amazing, dude. That's fucking wow, dude.
But I will not stop until I get to 200 sentences. The tale begins on the Destiny Islands, where young Sora and his friends Riku and Kairi dream of exploring new worlds beyond their idyllic home.
Bit of a strange thing.
That's crazy.
Maybe just like how Anno could approximate some Roman art, or Call of Duty could try to ape the Ghibli style, and people were mostly fine with it for Fortnite. But from what I can tell, with COD and Anno, it has hit people completely differently. And I think that's what gets us to the heart of this issue. What's different?
Oh my god, dude. Mostly negative? Holy fuck, dude. And it's mixed or so with Anno. Damn, dude, that's crazy.
Well, I would say Vader was intentional as a product experience. That sounds very buzzwordish, but what I mean is, it was a toy in a live service game like Fortnite.
Yeah,
it was
of course.
dropped, people did unhinged things for the first little while, they found the limits, stuff was patched up.
For me specifically as an artist itself or so, like I'm a bit of a perfectionist or so. Like I would I use generative AI stuff or so to help me out for my artwork and workflow and everything. But like at the very end or so, it's my coloring, my style, my everything or so at the very end of it. And I make sure that it's fucking perfect to the teeth or so. I can spot out like certain problems or so with certain images or so created by AI, unless they make like the ultimate AI machine or so that's probably out. I don't know if it's out there or not. Maybe there is an ultimate AI machine that you cannot tell the difference. Probably. It
Basically,
could be.
that was kind of the point. Goofy Vader was the sell, and they had permission from all of the major people involved. To be honest, the easiest way I can put this is, it was honest about being a form of throwaway funny slop. And I think that meant that people weren't as outraged, especially because of the permissions.
One is free to play, the other is like $80 with AI art, not even good AI art. It's AI slop. It is AI slop because it's not really good, because they're not really holding a higher standard specifically for making those completely stuff. Like for me, yeah, I like you guys seen like I mess around with AI, right? Like I mess around with AI, but at the end of the day, you know, I still do the rest of the workflow. I do the coloring, I do the post after effects on it. I take it into Photoshop. I do lighting tweaks, and I do coloring tweaking and everything. I do everything. Like I still do everything manually because it just looks better that way. The only thing I cut out or so, right, that just takes a bit more of time for me specifically, is just the outline, not the outline, but like the posing and the research of finding like clothing of what I want to put on the character or something like that, you know?
With that in mind, no wonder more people could gel with something like that than, say, the abominable new Coca-Cola ads. Because, yeah, Fortnite
Oh, did
Vader is a
Coca-Cola
pale
use
imitation,
AI?
but it's a silly little toy, and that was kind of the point. What Coke were doing with the recent advert that's pissed people off, well, that's just a cheap imitation of a real thing that we actually had, where its levels of glitz and glam and detail and lighting are so over the top that it doesn't feel real anymore. That's a huge part of why it comes off uncanny. It makes it seem like the creatives involved are working for the tool, rather than the tool working for them. And
Yep, that's the thing itself, you know? It's a tool. You're supposed to be using the tool, but as like, you know, your foundation, I guess you can say, you know? Like, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. You know, it's not mandatory for you to be using it, okay? But like, some will use it, but I for me personally, as someone who has drawn for such a long time or so, if someone wants to begin drawing and then they see like AI creating all this stuff and everything and they want to use it in their workflow, I recommend not to use it because they need to learn the fundamentals. Like, they need to learn it. Like, you have to learn the boring stuff before you get to the fun stuff. Like, that's just kind of like how it is. Before, like, you gotta learn the basics and like all the fundamentals before you can break the rules into art, or bend the rules to your liking or so, to way how you want to do art in general, because each artist has their own different style at the end of the day.
that's where COD and Anno are vital to today's story, because these, in my view, aren't really placeholders.
No.
I gotta say,
Do you think these are
allegedly, in
placeholders
my
for those
opinion, but
companies?
you may have heard the term, the purpose of the system is what it does, which does strip away some of the intent and focuses a little bit more on the end product, which
Damn, I should have looked at the calling cards actually, to be honest, in Black Ops, just to see how many of it is AI.
is useful, because that's the bloody thing we buy.
Is it all of them?
Because those
I'd be
assets
so curious
are
if it's
still
all of them.
in there, even though when you look at them, they are clearly out of place things that feel cheap. They are just, especially in, say, Call of Duty, stuff. Slop. Almost the definition of slop. And it's clear the management of these studios don't care enough to pay for real art in the first place.
No.
Or maybe thought they could just cut some corners. And then, whenever it came time to ship their game, they didn't care to make what they had better. Sure, whatever. Just
I
do
kind of stopped caring about calling cards after a while or so. Yeah, I stopped caring about them for quite some time.
some Ghibli slop. Let's not think about whether that does or does not fit
I just personally
Call of
don't
Duty.
care about calling
Let's
cards.
not think about making an amazing
I like to make my own
user
custom,
experience.
you
Let's
know,
just
my
shit
own
out
custom
something that people will recognize
emblem
and hope
thing.
that'll do the job. But as if that's not bad enough, I actually think it's a lot more chilling. I think maybe plenty of people here do actually care, but the system that they're in has no room for their caring because they got to do what they got to do. And if you ask me, that's what's actually scary here. We've got some of this tech that may end up being genuinely transformative. It seems we're on the cusp of major medical, road safety, knowledge work, and a whole bunch of other improvements. That's the thing, the technology is just a tool. What matters is how we choose to use that tool. And I fear that what could be great progress, and maybe in its best way could mean more artist tools to make their jobs better, to help them be more creative. I fear that that positive vision will be corrupted by systems of influence that can only see the next cost saving. Even
that's the thing itself, is like that's what AI is supposed to be meant for. But you know, I knew for a fact these companies were not going to use it that way. They're going to start firing all the artists and everything like that, and replacing them with AI, and they think AI is going to do everything for them. But you know, if you're a Destiny fan, you only care about our calling cards. Oh yeah, is that what it is? Oh okay. Oh yeah, can't you get calling cards from like raids or something like that? When it comes to Call of Duty, I don't know. I really didn't care much about the calling cards. I kind of cared more about like your creative like emblem thing that you can create yourself. You know, like you can do the like really cool emblem stuff and everything. But that's pretty much generally it, though.
most chillingly, in spite of how everyone involved feels. Because at the end of the day, everyone's just turning up, doing their job, under whatever systems they're under. Maybe that's the thing we should really start thinking about here. You know,
it's just shitty. It's just terrible. Like the game itself, like specifically, like the map that you play on the campaign was leaked during during Black Ops 6. During Black Ops 6, that specific campaign was leaked because it was actually technically originally a multiplayer map where you can literally go in free roam, where you can see the entire map itself. I'll try to see if I can find the video. I know where it's at, you know, so I can show you guys.
Devolving into stupid
So yeah,
internet fights.
so Black Ops 7 is just literally just a
So let's shout at each other less and be a little bit more strategic. And speaking of strategy, do you know who's really good at that?
You know the shitty thing about it? People actually paid for the Ultimate Edition for that game. There was actually... So when I was playing the multiplayer, right? I noticed that there were certain skins that you cannot get, right? And the only way you can get those specific skins if you buy the Ultimate Edition for Black Ops 7. And there were people who bought the Ultimate Edition for Black Ops 7, which is the white... the robot, what is it? The robot specifically, and then there's like and the other the bus driver robot. You can also use him too as well. I've seen both of those skins specifically. I haven't seen the Harper one. I think I've seen the blonde girl that's in there, and that's kind of like generally it. Reznov, they took away the Reznov skin, so you can't play the Reznov skin in Black Ops 7. You can play it in Black Ops 6, but you can't play it in Black Ops 7. They got rid of it, and that's kind of like it. That's all they have specifically, but you can those are the only ways you can get those skins specifically. It's just it's by pre-ordering the Ultimate Edition for that game, which is the most craziest thing. I was like, damn dude, that fucking sucks that you paid money for this game. And I'm just like, you know what, you do whatever you want at the end of the day. That's your money. Hey man, if you want to keep yourself in an abusive relationship, be my guest, be in an abusive relationship, I guess, you know. So for me, I'm just kind of like, you know, I play it from time to time, but I don't think I'll play it all the damn time. Like if I'm not really itching to play it or so, I'll just be like, you know. But then like if I want to play a Battlefield or so, I played Battlefield here with you guys, and that's just kind of like it though. But yeah, overall, Black Ops 7 is definitely a AAA slop game. It's definitely a slop game. They're reusing Black Ops 2 maps. They're reusing camos from Black Ops 2 and I think Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4. One of I know from over there though. What else are they they also reused Nuketown from Black Ops 2, and they didn't even bother changing the name to Nuketown 2035. Instead, they kept it at Nuketown 2025. So they didn't even change the name. They just poured it over. All they did is just rip the map or so from Black Ops 2, and they gave it a new paint job, and then chuck it into Black Ops 7, and then called it a day. And that's basically all they did. What else did they do specifically? I'm trying to remember. Like, oh yeah, they also brought back like some of the weapons or so from Black Ops 2. Call of Duty is just FPS version of the 2K series. It is like, well, every yearly release or so, Call of Duty, at least for the past couple of years or so, have been just kind of like not that super great or anything like that. Also, let me see that you sent me or so real quick of the remember the AA-12? Yep. That's basically the shotgun is in there. Except it has a more smaller magazine. That's kind of like basically it. You know, it's a lot more smaller magazine, and that's just kind of like the gist of it though. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, if you paid money for Black Ops 7, I feel sorry for you guys, to be honest. I really do. I don't know who's playing it. I played it for a bit, for like the first like 4 hours or so. It felt terrible to play the first 4 hours of it. I played more offline, and I still kind of felt terrible. It was just kind of like, all right, I'll unlock Ninja, and then we'll see if it gets better or so. It got like a little bit better, but I'm just like, you know, it's not really super great or so. I did find some guns that are like annoy the shit out of people, so I had fun just annoying the shit out of people, and that's kind of like pretty much it though. I was just basically just shitting on the sweat lords, and that's it. That's like kind of like generally it though. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe to all that fancy jazzy stuff. Yes, the AI tool or so is supposed to be like the basis of your like early like stuff or so, for like specifically for like, you know, to get ideas and stuff like that. For me, I have a specific one designed for me from a friend of mine that is supposed to be only for posing and clothing design. That's like kind of like generally it. Sometimes hair. Sometimes I'll add the LoRa not the Laura machine, the Laura add-on or so for hair sometimes. That's kind of like generally it though, but but like for me specifically, it takes a while for me to find the right one for me. Like it takes like, I'm very picky. I'm like super picky when it comes to when I'm messing with the AI stuff. And so I'm usually sitting there for hours on hours and hours on end trying to like, you know, tweak some settings, tweak some things, you know, take a look at this, take a look at that. Once I finally find it, then I take the concept of it and then take it over to, you know, to drawing in general, and then I just pretty much draw the posing and everything. But I completely changed like a lot of things, because like at the end of the day, for me specifically, my AI machine is nowhere near like theirs, or so I wish I had an AI machine like theirs, because theirs is a lot more better than mine, because sometimes I have to do a lot of restructuring and everything, because either deformed of a face, deformed of a body, deformed of a leg, it looks like a fucking sausage noodle, or deformed of arms, or deformed of hands, or whatever other stupid shit is there. But that's just kind of like generally it though. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. And AI slop, bro. Call of Duty 7 is like, I don't even have to tell you, it's fucking AI slop. It's been there since like what, since Modern Warfare 3? For that one demon skin or so that they added, they started making it with that. It could be older, of course, but like that's where literally like people started noticing it, where like there was not a lot of like consistency in it, and that's kind of like it though. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. And yeah, video game industry is already using AI. It's just some are just better than others.